Hi folks, Hugo Rivera here with HugoRivera.net, bringing you another Facebook Live. Of course, sorry about last Friday, I couldn't do it. I was basically in the middle of Hurricane Irma, which was, well, getting ready for it actually. It came the next day, I think. I don't know, honestly, I'm sorry for the dates. I lose track. The whole past week has been crazy. We had to get ready for Hurricane Irma, and that was something else. That took hours and hours of prep, and thanks to the good preparation, I was able to, not even miss a training session or a meal throughout the whole ordeal. But the hurricane came, and it actually was expected to come through our place over here at full force. At one point, we thought it was going to hit at Category 3, and lo and behold, it ended up hitting us at Category 1. And actually, when it hit Tampa, the storm broke. So by the time it came to the house here, we're like an hour north from Tampa. We just got like the remnants, but hey, the remnants were bad enough to go ahead and do some major damage in this area over here. I mean, I drove around, and there are people that, they lost roofs, and, they went ahead and they lost their fence, and obviously trailer parks were very devastated. That was horrible. But lo and behold, lucky for us, the property actually, we experienced some major roof damage, but we had a tree that fell, but it didn't fall on the house. So thank God for that. That was really, really nice. And it took us 2 full days to do the cleanup. Luckily, in terms of power, we were ready for no power for a whole week, and we were basically ready to, to eat, from our fridge and everything, because I had a whole bunch of like frozen gallons of water all over the fridge. And that actually kept everything really, really cold. So it worked out really good. Hey, Marcy from Australia. Big shout out to you. Anyways, like I was saying, it was huge, the storm. And then, it left us without power for 22 hours. But we were ready for like a whole week. My wife did the food prep for the whole week, actually. So we were ready for this thing. And we were not going to be missing any meals anytime soon. So, hey, hey, Tim, how are you? Tim from Japan, my buddy there. Awesome, dude. You're a great student. You're the man, dude. Mad respect for you. Your progress is just awesome. So I couldn't be any happier for you, Tim. Keep up the wonderful work, man. So, anyways, going back to what I was saying, it was a big storm, and luckily I'm still in one piece, and so is Cecile, and the house kind of. I mean, the roof needs repair. It needs a complete fixing, which incidentally, I'll get to your questions, Tim, not a problem. Incidentally, I'll go ahead and talk about what you can do to go ahead and help me with the repairs, because it turns out that, believe it or not, here's the deal. We had home insurance, but then this jerks actually went ahead and doubled up the price of the insurance after the contract was signed. So basically, I paid up, and mid-contract, then they decided to go ahead and jack up the price. So I went ahead and canceled them. But then the thing is that the hurricane season hit, and then there's nobody else to insure me. So I got to pay out of pocket for the roof, which is like $20,000. So actually what I did, I think I have a pretty good deal over here. What I'm going to do is the following. What I'm going to do is that I am going to offer the body reengineering system, which has, tons of routines. I mean, it has over 21 weeks. Actually, gosh, that thing has like 30 some weeks of routines. And also how to put your diet together, supplementation program, goal setting, the whole 9 yards. I'm going to offer it right here. And it's basically on a donation basis. So you pay what you think is cool. And that's going to go ahead and help dramatically with the expenses. And if I have any left over, I'll go ahead and give it to neighbors that need help. Have some other neighbors whose insurance is giving them problems. They don't want to go ahead and fix some of the issues, claiming that the problem was pre-existing and whatever. So, and some of my neighbors, they live in a fixed income. They're older people, and it's amazing that insurance companies go ahead and do this kind of stuff at this time. But anyways, here's the link. Check out the link for my body reengineering system. Just putting it here. Let's see. Check it out. Let me put it here. Link to body reengineering. So that way I help you guys, those of you who cannot afford my coaching services, and then you guys get to help me out as well. So everybody helps each other out. At any rate, let's see what else happened. I want to talk today, I think, about the importance of preparation. All right, because I think it would have been really easy for me to miss training sessions and to miss meals if I wouldn't have been prepared. But the minute that we heard that there was a hurricane coming, the first thing that Cecile and I did was to go ahead and start getting ready with the food and make sure that we had, the refrigeration working, to go ahead and make sure that this food wouldn't be spoiled, and we made sure that we had enough water. Kid you not, I have like 30 gallons of water here. But that's kind of like at all times. So, I mean, I'm almost like hurricane ready all the time. But, yeah, so we stock up on food and the whole 9 yards, and then we did our food prep for the week. And that's the ticket. I mean, if you want to succeed from your fitness program, I think it's super duper important that you're prepared. Because if you're not prepared, you will fail. I mean, obviously, I'm talking about a hurricane here, but like for life, if you go to work and you're unprepared and you didn't bring your food with you, then, especially for those of you who are starting out, you're going to be faced with temptation in the form of like bad foods, or you get really hungry because you don't have the food available, so you go to the vending machine and stuff like that, and that's how you mess up the diet, and that's how you end up not, following your program. And the key thing is that I think it's really easy to get to training. I think once you get into the habit of training, that's pretty easy, in my opinion. And from what all my clients tell me, it goes like that. I think it's easy to follow the training, but I think the hardest part for people, including for me when I started, is getting into the groove of the whole diet thing. And unfortunately, without the diet, you're not going to be able to experience the results that you would like, okay? That's the ticket. Basically, diet and training are kind of like the wheels of a bicycle. If you're missing one, it's hard to get to the other side. So, I mean, super duper important to go ahead and follow the diet. And like I've said before many times, and I talk about it in the body reengineering that I just posted below, that you can go ahead and, like I said, just on any kind of donation, even $1.99, and you go ahead and get the system. The key thing with the diet is that you got to start with a baseline diet, like I've said many times. A good baseline diet, 40-40-20, like 40% carbs, 40% proteins, 20% fats. In the body reengineering manual, I basically talk about people with faster metabolisms are going to be starting with a baseline diet that has more carbs. People that are naturally muscular, they'll go ahead and have a little bit more carbs than people like the rest of us who are just kind of like normal. If we overeat, we go ahead and get fat. Most of us are kind of endomorphic, so that's why we need like less carbs. So, anywhere between 40 to 45% carbs, 35 to 40% proteins and 20% fats is good. That's a good baseline diet. And then based on the results, you go ahead and you manipulate things so that you can go ahead and get the results that you want. If you don't see that you're losing body fat, you cut a little bit on the calories. If you see that, you're losing body fat for like 5 pounds a week, that's a little bit too much, so it's best to go ahead and up the calories. So I always try to create a situation where you're burning body fat at the highest caloric level possible, because the key thing here is not to just lose fat and then plateau. The key thing here is to lose fat, gain muscle, and increase your metabolism so that over time you can go up in calories. Okay, so I eat today many more calories than I did back when I started. Obviously, because every single pound of muscle you gain is 50 calories that you're burning that you were not burning before. So that's the whole ticket there, okay? So that's the whole thing about the diet. I mean, the diet is super duper important to follow it. If you don't follow it, well, you're not going to go ahead and get the results that you want. It's just that way. At the beginning, you get still some results without dieting. I did. Many of my clients who start with me and they're kind of stubborn and they don't follow the diet, they'll still get results at first, but then you get to the point to where your body will not go past a certain level if you don't get your diet in order, okay? Simply because you're not feeding it the right nutrients, okay? And the better in shape you get and the less body fat you have, the more important it is to feed yourself, because if you're not feeding yourself, you will just not have the energy to execute. You will not have the energy to do anything, okay? In fact, over the last 2 days, I spent it with my wife outside doing yard work and cleaning up the mess that the hurricane left. I'm telling you what, I'm happy that our food was made for the whole week, because I was eating on the dot every 3 hours. I was eating. I was drinking like a couple gallons of water. I mean, because if you're if you're out there working in the Florida sun, like for a good 8 hours a day, doing some yard work and stuff and cleaning up and all that, it's like you're gonna be burning some calories. It's just guaranteed. So I also upped the amount of calcium, magnesium, potassium because it's something that goes out when you're sweating. So that's the whole ticket right there. Okay, that's the whole ticket. So dieting is key. If I wouldn't have done that because I have very low body fat levels, I'd be dead. I'd be like, I'd be dehydrated and stuff. In fact, yesterday at night, my body, like I could go ahead and take a look at my skin. And even with all that, I still experienced a bit of dehydration and I felt like crap. That's what happens when your body fat levels are too low though. I mean, if you're like below 10% body fat for guys and below like 13 for females, is super important, the hydration, because you just don't have the insulation that the body fat gives you, right? So as a result, you really and truly need to make sure that you feed yourself. If you're not feeding yourself, you're going to get a headache and you're going to suffer from low energies. And also it's super important to hydrate yourself, okay? With that said, let me go ahead and check on somebody to make sure that, give me a sec, to make sure that somebody was able to join. 1 second. I see somebody else trying to join the chat over here, and for some reason they cannot go ahead and see me. I don't understand why Facebook does that sometimes. But anyways, going back to this, I see that some people have questions. Tim, if you're still there, do you have any question that you want to go ahead and give me? Harris says, I like your muscle. Thanks, Harris. Let's see. What else we have? See if Tim goes ahead and post any questions. And any of you, if you want to go ahead and post any questions as I'm talking over here, feel free to go ahead and post them, because that way I can go ahead and answer them for you. Anyways, let's see. Tim says, I'm in week 12 of our current plan. I need an alternate exercise for chest dips, tricep. Hold on 1 sec. I don't know why Facebook truncates. Okay, I need an alternate exercise for chest dips, triceps push down straight bar, and triceps push down V bar due to lack of equipment to these moves. Oh, okay, no problem. So for chest dips, Tim, what you can do instead is that you can do some push-ups, okay? For the triceps push downs, what you can do, you have a couple of options. You can either do the skull crushers on the decline bench, which I know you love. Do that one for the triceps push down with a straight bar, and with the triceps push downs with a V bar, what I'd like you to do is the tricep extensions, the triceps kickbacks with neutral grip, okay? Remember, neutral grip is this one, right? You go like that. Neutral, meaning that the palm of the hand is actually facing your torso. So that's what you want to go ahead and do, Tim, okay? Let me know if you have any other questions on what I said. But again, for the chest dips, do push-ups. For the tricep push-downs, do the decline skull crushers. And for the triceps push-downs with the V-bar, do the, do the tricep kickbacks, neutral grip, palms facing the torso, okay? That's the ticket right there, buddy. Keep up the wonderful work. I'm so proud of you. And so is Cecile. We're super duper proud of you. You're just killing it, man. You're just killing it. Let's see. Okay, Tim says, got it, brother. I suck at kickbacks. Gotta improve. Thank you. I think everybody sucks at kickbacks because, when you start out, it's just so hard to go ahead and keep like the arm up, But honest to God, I think I've seen your form, and you do really good form when you use the wall as the bench. You do really good form that way. Where your form breaks is when you try to not use the wall as a bench. Then your form is a little bit bad, because then your back tends to arc for whatever reason. But if you just do it one arm at a time, you'll be okay, because your form is good, man. So don't put yourself down. Let's see who we have here. Jane is a friend of Tim's, watching from North Palm Beach, Florida. Jane, how are you? Nice to meet you. How did you fare down there? I mean, Palm Beach, I know was hit. So, I mean, gosh, we were all hit. It's like, that was such a big storm we were all hit. Tim says, I'm on it. GIFD. Yes, I know you're on it, buddy. I know you are. You're like the most enthused person out there. That's awesome. I totally love it. You pump me up, man. That's great. So, yeah. Anyways, again, I'm super grateful to be talking to all of you because honestly, last week I really didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know if I was going to be out of like electricity for 2 weeks or 3 or what. I mean, I had no idea. All I know is that the storm that hit us is one of the strongest storms we've seen in 100 years. So that is something. That's pretty messed up. That was like the Miss Olympia of storms. That was incredible. Jane says, not bad here. Lots of trees and branches. Yes. House okay. You guys had it much worse. Glad you're okay. Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the lots of trees and branches, Jesus, I experienced that here. Like I said, over the past 2 days, Cecile and I have been cleaning that up, and luckily we're done. We're done, thank God. But it was like, geez, I mean, it was like 15 cans of trash plus a full truck that had all the debris from the trees and everything, and we had to take the truck to the dumpster. We got lucky with the trash because what happened was that we typically get like the green trash that picks up like tree leaves and stuff on Wednesday, and then we get the regular trash on Thursday. So what we had to do was that we just split up the trash that way. That's all we could do, and then of course we filled up a huge truck on the back, a pickup truck, with all the other debris too. So I mean, that we had so much to pick up. I mean, it was crazy. Our property has like 0.33 acres, and all that stuff was just full of stuff from all the trees that we have and everything. But like I said, I mean, we're just grateful that, you know, the tree that did fall, it didn't fall on our roof. That would have been catastrophic. And you know, everything else held up. I mean, the roof is all banged up. Like I said, we're gonna have to change it, but it held up. It held up. I mean, I know people that had their ceilings caving in because, you know, the roof broke and then the water started going in, and then, you know, the air got in, and then of course the ceiling caved in too. So I didn't have a cave in of the ceiling, so that's great, obviously. But yeah, that was an experience and a half. George says, glad things are back to normal. Storms was scary. Your videos are really cool. Thank you, George. Good to see you, buddy. George from Scotland over there. I love Facebook Live because you get people from all over the world. So yeah, thank you, George. I appreciate that. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about more positive stuff than the storm. That stuff was crazy. Luckily, I'm not scared of any of that stuff because otherwise it would have been a very bad week for me. Unfortunately, Cecile is from France, so she's never experienced a hurricane, and unfortunately she had to experience it here, and that wasn't nice, you know. But it's one of those things. When you get one of those things coming, you just have to put your faith out there and, you know, just kind of like realize that whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You just prepare the best you can, and that's it. You know, you just go through it. But luckily, like I said, we fared pretty well, you know. Going back to the subject of fitness and stuff, okay? Let's go ahead and talk again about preparation, right? So we talked about the food preparation. How about training? I think it's important that you also prepare your times for training. For example, me during these few days, I knew that I was going to be working on the yard all day long. What ended up happening is that the first day I had planned to work first thing in the morning, first thing in the morning, and that's exactly what I did. I worked out first thing in the morning, and then the rest of the day I worked outside. Second day, I had planned to work out first thing in the morning, but I was so tired from the day prior that I woke up late. So even though my planning was off, I just made an effort to go ahead and work out after the work outside, you know. And that just goes for every single day. I think it's important that you go ahead and you make the time for your workouts, okay? Don't skip them. If you skip workouts, you know, haphazardly, you're killing your gains, you know. I think you need to assess how your body is feeling. Like in my case, let me use myself as an example. On day 2, I was feeling pretty banged up at the end of the day, to be very honest with you. But I did a warm-up set and I could see that my body could take a nice workout. and I went through with it. Plus, I fed myself properly and I drank enough water. If I wouldn't have fed myself properly, if I wouldn't have had the water that I had, and I would have been feeling physically ill, then I would have considered not doing the workout for that day, because then at that point I'm just exposing myself to injury, which obviously is the last thing that you want to go ahead and do. So, be judicious about these things. Use your head, but always try to schedule your workouts in advance and try to at least say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to work out in the morning, the day after I'm going to work out at midday, whatever. Look at your schedule and try to schedule your workouts in advance, because that's already going to go ahead and put you ahead of the game. Have a backup plan. If you cannot make it at that time, then the backup plan is, when are you going to work out? But it's important that you don't dismiss the workout time, because if you're dismissing workouts left and right, then, like I said, you're not going to make the gains. And I talk to so many people out there, when I go out and people ask me, hey, I'm going to the gym, I'm not making gains and this and that, and I start troubleshooting their program. Either A, they're training way too much, or B, they're not being consistent with their workouts. Okay. The other thing that I see, of course, is that people are not following their diet. Honestly, that's what I see the most. I mean, the reasons why people make no gains is because A, their training sometimes is too long. B, it may not be consistent. C, obviously a lot of people know about periodization. I don't know how that is possible, but that is the case. A lot of people still don't know about periodization, which I think is so important to understand, that you cannot just go to the gym and lift heavy and expect, okay, well, I'll go ahead and get some muscle just because I'm lifting heavy. It's not like that. You have to, like I said, you have to periodize. You have to do the periods of high reps, the periods of lower reps, and oscillate. Push the body and then let it adjust. Push the body and then let it adjust. Okay, that's how you do it. Because if you're constantly pushing, then you're gonna go ahead and break the machine. That's the problem. Okay, and the other thing too, like I said, people that train too much and they go past the 45 minutes of training, then you're putting yourself into a hormonal situation that makes it very difficult for your body to adjust, and that's the problem right there. You're not going to make any gains because your cortisol levels are too high. Cortisol is the adrenal stress hormone that gets secreted by the adrenal glands, right? And if you train too much, cortisol goes up, and what cortisol does is that it preserves body fat and it kills muscle, which is not good. Let me check out some messages. Christian, how are you, buddy? Christian, another great client of mine. How are you doing, my friend? Yeah, I know. Glad to be safe myself. Thank you. Finally, today I kind of start getting back into the groove of working and, taking care of my extended family, meaning my clients and everything else like that. Yeah, I just said at the beginning of the Facebook Live the whole ordeal that we had over here this past week. But like I told everybody, they didn't miss a workout, they didn't miss a meal because of good planning. So I'm grateful for all that, to be quite honest with you. But man, it was a whole bunch of work to go ahead and clean up the place, and it was something. But I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy to be here, just sharing knowledge with everybody, because that's what I love to do. So anyways, I got your message, by the way, and I will answer you. All right, I got your message, and I appreciate your thoughts and everything. We can go ahead and touch bases next weekend, Christian. I'll go ahead and give you some proposed times so we can go ahead and talk over the phone and see where you're at. You say, I'm doing great, Christian says. Keeping up steady with the program and diet. Awesome. So you know what? If you could please send me some pictures this weekend with some measurements, that'll be great, if at all possible. That way we have something to discuss in this coming call besides any kind of questions that you may have. So that'll be cool. Christian is killing it up there in New York. He's an awesome guy. He's just training hard and serving people. So big shout out to all the officers up there in New York. Great people, everybody. Anyways, yeah. So let's go ahead and do that, Christian. Let's go ahead and discuss where you're at, because I want to make sure that you get those ripped abs and the whole 9 yards, okay? So, anyways, with that said, what was I talking about? I was talking about things that, hold people back. So, yeah, the training, definitely the wrong training holds people back. And then the other part, like I was saying, is not following the diet. People think, a lot of people think that you just go into like a nutrition store, grab a supplement, and you're going to go ahead and start making some gains in terms of like muscle mass and fat loss. And nothing could be more further from the truth, to be honest with you. It's all in the training and the diet. Supplements are great, but supplements are an addition to a great training program and diet. Supplements do not make up for a lack of training and a lack of proper dieting. And that's what's important to understand. I think a lot of people get confused with the whole supplementation thing, and they think that that's the most important part of the program. But it is not, it is not at all. Let me see what I have here. Mohammed says, thanks, dude, for the advices. Oh, you're welcome. There are some things deeper that are not very clear. Well, if you go ahead and just post a question over there, I'll be happy to go ahead and answer it for you. Whatever is not clear, just go ahead and post over there on the comments, and I'll be happy to go ahead and clarify it, okay? So as soon as I see your question, I'll go ahead and answer it. In the meantime, I keep talking. So, yeah, supplementation, it's, like I said, it will not make up for improper training and diet. So what you need to do is to really and truly focus on those two variables. If you have the right training and if you have the right diet, you will make the gains. It's just the way it is. And then, only then, you can go ahead and consider adding good supplements. Like your multiple vitamin, your fish oils, your protein powder, simply because protein is just convenient to be able to eat a couple of meals, in liquid form, as opposed to having 5 or 6 real meals. You know what I mean? I mean, we all work, so it's one of those things to where, even if we didn't work, I think it would be boring to be eating like every single day, like 6 real meals. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that. I can actually do 4 meals. The days that I do like 5 real meals, sometimes it's like, oh my God, it's like the chewing and I don't know. It's like, to me, it just looks inconvenient. That's how it is for me. I don't know for others. I know some other people can do it, but for me, it's one of those things to where I did it for competition, but now that I don't compete, I'm a little bit more relaxed when it comes to that. So I'll have a couple of protein shakes a day, and then I'll have 3 or 4 real meals for the rest of the day. That's how I play it out. And that's another important thing to remember. Food is the most important part of the diet, okay? I know a lot of people make the mistake of having like protein bars and protein shakes and trying to substitute everything. So they'll have like 1 real meal and then the rest is like some sort of like protein bar or protein shake. That's not going to yield the best results, okay? Again, remember, protein bars, protein shakes, these are supplements. They're additions to the proper nutrition program. So you need to have at least a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner that are real food, okay? And then in between, you can go ahead and have your protein shakes or protein bars, okay? And I'm not a super huge fan of protein bars these days because most of the protein bars are contaminated with a whole bunch of stuff that shouldn't be in them. I do like the Labrada bars because they're like, made out of like GMO-free ingredients and things like that. So you can go ahead and check that out in labrada-nutrition.com. I'll go ahead and put the link over here. So that's the ticket, but you got to be careful with the protein bar. So I'm more of a proponent of protein shakes, and that's what I use, okay? Just to go ahead and keep the diet as clean as humanly possible. I don't like to have too much artificial anything in my diet, okay? That's the ticket right there. Christian says, Hugo, your thoughts on intermittent fasting. I read that it might be the best strategy to lose fat and gain muscle. Great question, Christian. A lot of people have asked me about intermittent fasting. And the thing is, number one, there are many ways to implement intermittent fasting, okay? Obviously, I don't believe in this whole thing of, fast for a whole bunch of hours and then you just go ahead and cram whatever foods you want for X amount of hours and, and the quality of the food doesn't matter. What matters is the amount of calories you down. I don't believe in that philosophy. I think it's important to have quality nutrition. When it comes to intermittent fasting, I've experimented with it. And I'm just one person. I don't like to reach conclusions based on just one person. I feel that everybody's different. And I feel that some people respond well to intermittent fasting. And, but I'm talking about the type of intermittent fasting to where, let's say, they do like a 12-hour fast, or maybe even a 14-hour fast, and then during the other hours they go ahead and have the good meals. Some people respond very good to that. In fact, me, sometimes I've done such a thing, okay, and then I just have my 5 meals during the period after like the 12 or 14 hours of the fasting. And I don't even try it on purpose. It's like sometimes I just wake up with a whole bunch of energy and I don't really have the appetite, so I just let the body, it depends. If I train in the morning, I'm going to go be eating after it, okay? If I don't get to train in the morning, because let's say that I have some important things to do, some phone calls to handle, I'll go by feel. If my body doesn't really want to eat, I'll let it fly. I may just have, like some creatine and some glutamine and some branched chain aminos and things like that. And I may just do like 12 hours without food, obviously as counting the time that I slept. And then I'll start eating. But it's not something that I force myself. It's like something that I do if my body kind of like feels that way, if that makes any sense. So I really listen to my body. I try not to feed myself or anything like that. But that's the extent of my intermittent fasting, okay? Again, like I said, I don't believe in the type of fasting that is recommended by some people to where they say, well, you go ahead and fast for all these hours and then you just go ahead and, stuff your face with whatever calories you want to go ahead and stuff yourself with. I don't believe in that. I think, I think it's important to put into the body the right amount of nutrition, the right nutrients, and to keep the body free from any kind of like artificial crap out there. And certainly away from like trans fats and high fructose corn syrup and things like that, okay? Because we're not doing this just for cosmetic purposes. We're also doing this for health. I mean, we don't want to be sick with all those things. So, again, it depends on the type of intermittent fasting, Christian, but that's, like I said, me personally, that's as much as I go with the whole intermittent fasting thing. I think most people respond best to just a traditional diet, What happens with all these things, Christian, is that, we go through periods in the fitness industry to where something becomes a fad and then everybody's like, oh, this is the best way to do things, right? So, you had back in the day, the thing was like super high carbs and zero fats. Then we had like low carbs or zero carbs, actually. First we went low carb and then we went zero carb, and then as many fats and proteins as you want. And then, we started doing like intermittent fasting or this or that or the other thing. There's always something, right? And I think what's important to know is that, to me, I think in all my experimentation, what I've noticed is that balance is the key. If you balance things out and you use, and you listen to your body, that's how your body will respond best. So like I said, for myself, sometimes I wake up with a whole bunch of energy, and if I'm not working out in the morning, I may allow myself a few hours of no food just because I feel good and just because I don't feel like eating at the time. And then once the appetite kicks in, immediately I go ahead and break the fast. But I'm not timing it or anything. I just observed that I may go sometimes 12 to 14 hours without food, and then I'll go ahead and have all my meals in between the time. Okay? So that's the extent of my intermittent fasting. But like I said, some of my clients have tried it because they wanted to try it, and they put together a program, and they didn't really like it. So I mean, I'm sure that some people the system works well, but it's because all of us are a little bit different, right? So some things may work for some people and may not work for the vast majority of other people. Like, for example, people that can go ahead and eat a whole ton of carbs, in their universe, they think, well, carbs are fine. But that's because they have a super fast metabolism, So what's true for them is not true for us. That's what I'm trying to say. Christian says, fasting for those amount of hours can be catabolic state for the body, I suppose. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's the problem. That's exactly the problem. That's why I said if I'm not going to eat in the morning, I may just have a drink with some branched chain aminos, some creatine, some glutamine to make sure that I'm not going catabolic. And then I'll just allow myself a few hours to go ahead and stay without eating, just because I'm enjoying the energy. And like I said, if I'm not hungry, I don't want to force feed myself. But that's the extent of my intermittent fasting. All right. I hope I answered your question. And if not, we can talk about it in more detail, okay? George says, can't stop eating. It's like everything. I burn so fast. I'm sorry, George. I didn't really understand that comment. That if you could repost it again. Can't stop eating is like everything I eat burns. Oh, can't stop eating is like everything I eat burns off fat. Fat is what I think you wanted to say, or fast. I don't know. Well, if you have a fast metabolism, George, that's pretty awesome. I know, like my buddy Rodzilla, he needs to eat. I mean, his body is a metabolic furnace, and he can eat a whole ton of carbs, and he'll be burning fat. And the more he eats, the bigger and leaner he gets. So that, that's his metabolism. People like him, he's a straight mesomorph. He can do that. Totally fine for him to do that. But if we all try that, the majority of us being endomorphs, we're going to end up getting fat. So that's why it's important to understand, what works in some cases does not work for other cases. That's why I feel that intermittent fasting may work for some people, but I don't think it works for the majority of people. Okay? That's definitely what I think. I have Shasib. Shasaib. I'm sorry if I messed up your name, buddy. Shasaib, I think is how it's pronounced. You ask, it's mean protein whey. Is it totally safe, bro? Well, okay, here's the deal. I don't know that brand, but let's say that whey protein is totally safe. The brand that you just told me about, I cannot vouch for it because I never used it and I never heard about it. But if it is a good brand, assuming it is a good brand that is selling you exactly what it claims and is selling you the highest quality protein, okay, whey protein is entirely safe, okay? And whey protein has nothing bad on it. The only thing I'll say is that there's a tiny percentage of people that get acne from it. They react to the whey protein because whey protein increases IGF-1 levels, and in doing so, it may give acne to people that have a high propensity, okay? So that's something to keep in mind. But other than that, the whey protein is a totally safe product, okay? Assuming that it comes from a good brand, all right? Arjun says, I have too much chest fat. Can you please help me? Yeah, the way to get rid of the fat in the chest is by following the proper diet and the proper training program. Because once you start doing the proper diet and the proper training, what happens then is that your body starts building muscle and it starts burning the fat, okay? So that's how slowly but surely, as you lose body fat all over the body, you're also going to go ahead and lose the chest body fat, okay? That's the whole ticket. There's no such thing as butt reduction. Like, you cannot just train your chest and lose the body fat there, but you can certainly lose body fat all across the body and in the problem areas, all right? To the point that you will not have any body fat there. Which is pretty cool. I mean, I used to have that chest fat too when I used to be obese, and it all disappeared. So, which is quite amazing. In fact, this is kind of interesting because the first time I saw lines on my glutes, that was when I was getting ready for the USAs, for the Mr. USA. That was really and truly cool. And the Southern States, actually. Before I did the USAs, I did the Southern States like 3 weeks before. And that's when I got my glutes shredded up. And I looked at myself and I'm like, Jesus, it's amazing how your body will just burn body fat everywhere. If you do things correctly, it'll go ahead and chip off body fat in places that you never thought you would ever lose it. But it does. It just goes away. And yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of consistency of execution with the training and with the nutrition. And if you need a program, here's one. I just went ahead and posted the link. There you go. I just posted the link for the program. That's the Body Reengineering program, which has a really cool training and nutrition system that you can go ahead and use to lose the body fat anywhere, okay? So that's the deal right there with that. But anyway, so yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go ahead and cover today. So I mean, unless anybody else has questions, let me make sure that I'm not missing any. Oh, this is weird. Okay. So I still have one of my clients who cannot go ahead and get into Facebook Live. This kills me. Hold on, one sec. Okay, just telling her that I don't know why that is the case because everybody else can see me. Let me see if she can try refreshing the page. Okay, sorry about that. Tim says, Hugo, periodization. When I pick up lighter weights, I'm like, what's the point? Let me read the rest of your comment. About rep number 25, I'm like, I get it. Lots of laughs. I know, right, Tim? Periodization is awesome, Tim, because let me tell you something about high reps, which back when I was a teen, I didn't want to touch high reps. Back when I was a teen, if it was over 6 reps, I considered that lightweight. That was my stupid mentality back in the day, because that's all I knew. All I knew and all I heard was, oh, you got to train heavy to go ahead and gain mass, blah, blah, nya. So high reps don't work. Yeah, right. Anyways, it's super duper cool to go ahead and do the lighter weights and the higher repetition ranges, because as you know, Tim, the body's not used to it. Okay, the body's not used to it, and even though you have to reduce the weight dramatically to be able to execute the reps, as you go by and you do more of these oscillations between the high reps and the lower reps, you get stronger in the higher reps too, don't you? So it's a beautiful thing, because now suddenly, you know, if you're like me, then you can bench press 225 for over 20 reps, which is kind of cool, you know. Furthermore, what happens too when you're doing the high reps is that, you know, your body has to utilize fibers that do not get activated when you're only doing like, you know, 8 to 10, right? Or fibers that don't get activated when you're doing even 13 to 15 reps. So that's one thing. The other thing is that it increases capillarization as well. And the more capillarization you have in the muscles, the more ability to get blood flow into that muscle. That's the whole ticket, okay? So when that is the case, you know, you really have a whole bunch of pipelines that are feeding the muscle with nutrition, which is a great thing, okay? And furthermore, your cardiovascular capacity gets better and you just become a better athlete, you know? For example, when I was working on the yard the other day, you know, I was not winded at all because of the kind of workouts that I do. You do the same workout, so you know what I'm talking about. You know, I go high reps, I go fast, you know, I do all the things that you're doing. So periodization, to me, I think that was the greatest discovery that has been made in training science. You know, that's something that is just proven to work. And I feel bad for all the people that don't know about it, because it's just so useful. So yeah, periodization. I found that out by accident myself. And then I started reading about, you know, the kind of how you call it. This is weird. Okay. Then I started reading about the kind of periodization models out there, and then I started getting more sophisticated about things, and then I pretty much kind of created my own periodization model too. There are many out there, to be quite honest with you, but I like mine, obviously. So, yeah, I like to, as you know, Tim, I like to go ahead and play around, and I like to go low in reps sometimes, and then, you know, sometimes as high as 25 to 30 reps. So that works, you know. Tim says, I have never gotten that without our plan. Didn't trust that at first. Now I get it. I know, right? Yeah, I hear you, buddy. It's not, I don't blame you one bit for not trusting it at first, because it looks kind of weird. You're like, okay, your whole life you've heard how it's important to go ahead and, you know, train heavy for muscle. If you want to go ahead and gain muscle, you got to train heavy, you know, and that is not the case, you know. And as you also know, Tim, no need to train for hours either, okay? It's funny because every time I go out, people ask me, how many times a day do you train? And when I tell them that I only train for 35 to 45 minutes once a day, they're blown away. They cannot believe it. But that's, again, because I think the media has made such a big misconception about things. I think the media likes to report on how such and such athlete is training for like hours every single day, or such movie star got, you know, ready for a movie training 3 hours a day or some stuff like that. It's like, you know what, it doesn't help people, because then people think that that's how much they have to train. I mean, that's what happened to me when I started training. It's like, you know, the word of the day was that you needed to train 2 to 3 hours a day. So 2 to 3 hours a day is what I was training. And yeah, initially I made some gains. I mean, I could hardly move, and luckily I didn't get hurt. But that's not the way at all. You don't need that kind of stuff, you know. You just need a very focused 35 to 45 minutes of training. And I have, you know what? I have many clients that only do 20 minutes 3 times a week. kid you not, many clients go ahead and just only train that much. You don't need that much training. If you're doing the right type of training, you just will be able to accomplish a whole bunch in a very short period of time. Because again, remember, past 45 minutes, your hormonal system does not even support the kind of work you're trying to do. So what's the point, right? I don't understand what the point is. Carlos, hey Hugo, how is it going, man? I'm glad you guys are okay. Thank you, Carlos. Yeah, I'm glad I'm okay too. I felt like the story of the three little pigs, I was saying to myself, okay, is the house going to hold up, or is the big back wolf going to blow it away? I don't know. We'll see. So, yeah, luckily it's still standing. The roof all banged up, like I said, but other than that, luckily it's still here. So thank God for that. Let's see. Tim is saying, shutting down devices has cut down training time. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that, Tim. Let's talk about that for the rest of the people here in this live. The importance of not going nuts with technology while you're training, all right? So, with that said, try to leave the cell phone in the training bag, all right? Do not activate the cell phone while you're training, because what happens is that you get involved in social media or texting somebody else, and then, your rest periods go out the window. When you're at the gym, you gotta keep on moving. Those rest periods need to be like clockwork, because that's exactly what they are, and they're there for a reason. So you got to keep on moving. You got to keep the pace up. You got to get as much work as humanly possible within the 45 minutes or whatever time you want to train. If you want to train 20 minutes, then even better. It's like then you have to really move your butt, So the technology is gonna hold you back. So I think it's super important what Tim just mentioned about, put the technology out, just completely take it out. There's no need. It's like you can go ahead and do the texting or the selfies before or after the workout, but don't do it during, okay? Because if you do it during the workout, then it's just going to go ahead and affect your performance, and that's not what you want. I mean, you want to go into the gym and get the work done, whether you're working at a home, like most of my clients, actually, I did a little analysis. 80% of my clients train at home. And I train at home too. So whether you're training at home or at the commercial gym, do yourself a favor and turn your stuff off, Tim says, not just in the bag, shut it down. Now it takes too long to power back up. That's a good point. The world can wait. Tim, man, GIFD, I couldn't have said it better, buddy. I could not have said it better. The world can wait. The world will not come to an end if your cell phone is off for the time that you're training, okay? Especially since we're not training over 45 minutes. I don't get the point. It's like you will be doing yourself a big disservice if you're constantly, on social media or taking selfies and stuff like that during your workout, okay? Shut that thing down. Turn it back on after. Christian says, time is money, as they say. Yeah, Christian, I couldn't have said it better, buddy. That's so true. Time is money. You're losing money, okay? You're losing money. So turn that cell phone off. Gee, unbelievable. What Tim says is so true, because I remember a while back, when was it? Actually, it was like 3 weeks ago. I took a buddy of mine to go ahead and check out a gym because he wanted me to go with him. So I go ahead and check out the gym, which shall remain nameless. And so many people were texting. Holy cow. It's like, people on the leg press machine, they're texting. On the lat pull down, texting, on that room taking a selfie. It's like, what the heck, man? Are we training or what? I don't get it. Nikki says, hi, Nikki. I'm hitting legs while listening right now. Awesome. Nikki has an excuse because she's listening to this. You see, that's the only excuse. If you're going to leave the cell phone on, it's because you're listening to music or you're listening to a really cool podcast, all right? Whether it's me or somebody else, it doesn't matter. You're listening to something cool. But do not entertain yourself. Do not kill your rest periods because you're busy at the cell phone. That's so important. Because I'm telling you, it's like, again, like I said, I don't go to gyms too often these days, but when I went the other day to check it out for a buddy of mine, I saw a large amount of the population of the gym just doing a whole bunch of stuff during the rest periods on their cell. So you cannot be focused at the task at hand if you're just constantly doing stuff, right? So let's see. Carlos says, true, what's the point? When I train, I put my headphones and I'm dead to the world. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I do the same thing too, you know. Carlos, even though I train at home, which is cool because nobody bothers me here, you know. I'll tell you what, sometimes I just put like some wireless headphones, and it's like I don't even know there's a universe out there. I'm just like in my own little world. Just the only thing I really listen to sometimes that I feel obviously is my heart rate just going like clack 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 clack. It's like pretty crazy, you know. Annie says, "Hi Hugo, hi Annie, how are you? Good to see you over here on the live. Awesome, thank you for coming." So yeah, I'm the same way, buddy, Carlos. I just go ahead and I just focus on the task at hand, because otherwise it's true, it just takes a lot of focus away if you're like checking stuff out, because the cell phones today, they're as good as a computer. I mean, let's face it, you can do all sorts of things. You can do work even via the cell phone these days, so it's just too entertaining. So, and when I'm training, I try to just be focused at the moment, be focused on what I'm doing, be aware of my surroundings, because I don't want to get hurt by tripping into something. Super important just to go ahead and stay in touch with how the body's feeling and how the muscles are feeling and the whole 9 yards. So yeah, don't be distracted, okay? Definitely after the workout, you can take all the selfies you want, because that's when you're all pumped up and stuff. Yeah, that's that's always cool, super duper cool to go ahead and do that. Not a problem there. And if you have a training partner that wants to go ahead and videotape you, that's all cool too. But as long as you're not, doing texting and stuff in the middle of sets, and then, your 60-second rest becomes 180-second rest, that's a problem right there. Annie says, I use the JetFit app on my phone to track my workouts. That's pretty awesome. That's a great use of the phone right there. Tracking your workouts, that's awesome, Annie. Thank you for sharing that. It's the JetFit app, okay? So I'll check it out. That looks really, really cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Annie. Yeah, that's a great use of the phone right there, But yeah, if you're an addict though, like my boy Tim over here in Japan, if you're a phone addict to where he may go into social media and just lose it in the middle of the sets, keep that cell phone away. Just power it off. But if you can go ahead and use it for something like this, then that's totally cool. Anyways, rant over with the cell phone. But are there any other topics you guys want me to cover? Because I realized that last Friday I couldn't come because I was getting ready for like the end of the world over here in Florida. So definitely feel free to post any questions, and I'll be happy to go ahead and stay here a little bit longer. That's not a problem. And like I said, if you want to go ahead and help out with some of the hurricane expenses over here, I'm posting the link again. I just posted it to my Body Reengineering. And if any of you have Body Reengineering already, just email me, and I'll be happy to send you 21 more weeks of training. That's not a problem. But yeah, so for the time being, I'm just giving Body Reengineering on a donation basis, which is cool. Helps a lot of people, because a lot of people have been telling me that, finances are tight and they don't want to go, they cannot go ahead and get the coaching that I offer, which I totally understand. But then, that's why I figured I'll go ahead and do this. That way, that helps me and that helps all of you. Awesome. Tim is going to go train. Tim, have a great workout, brother. Have a great workout. GIFD, I trained early today. First thing in the morning, I did legs. In fact, my legs right now, as I'm talking, they're up because they're that sore. I killed them. It was just a massacre. It was just like squats and lunges, like various forms of squats, lunges. It was pretty crazy, and I did calf raises, and I did abs, and the whole thing. Everything got done in 45 minutes, so that was really, really cool. Manendra says, hi, Hugo, how are you? Hi, Manendra, I'm doing great, man, and you? Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out my live over here. If you have any questions, just go ahead and post them below, and I'll go ahead and take care of you. Like I said, I'll be happy to stay up a little bit longer here if there are questions. If there are no questions, then, I'll just go ahead and let everybody start the weekend. Annie says, how do you feel about hitting legs 3 times per week? I feel pretty good about that. Hi, Alexa, how are you? I feel pretty good about that, Annie. In fact, I've done that many times, especially when getting ready for contest, and especially in 2007 when that was the first time that I actually got my glutes to be chiseled up. And what I did is that I would do legs 3 times a week. So I'm totally cool with that. The ticket for that to work, Annie, is to make sure that you're still periodizing, okay? So you make sure that you're doing, your 3 weeks of higher repetitions and then 3 weeks of lower repetitions with slightly a little bit of more rest in between. But you can totally get away with it, leg training three times a week, okay? As long, like I said, just keep the workouts short. Everything applies, right? 35 to 45 minute workouts, right? Fast paced, and then, high reps for 3 weeks, lower reps for 3, and then you just go ahead and work in the rest periods to where the high rep weeks you have way less rest period, and then the heavier weeks you have a little bit more rest period in between sets, okay? But you can totally do that. In fact, sometimes I have my clients do a body part every single day. Now let me explain this. Let's say that your shoulders are lagging. So in that case, what I'll do is I'll have you for like 3 weeks only, like typically during the high rep weeks, okay? For 3 weeks, I may have you do a shoulder exercise every single day. So you may do like 3 to 4 sets of lateral raises if that's what you're missing. 3 to 4 sets of lateral raises for like say 20 to 25 reps, okay? Every single day, including the days that you're doing your shoulders and arms, okay? So you're training shoulders every day. But you know what? Then you stop that and then you go back to your twice a week training. And that works out pretty well, okay? Again, the whole thing about training is that if you have the right diet, your body will be able to recover from things. You need to have the right diet. You need to have the right periodization. If you don't have the right diet and the right periodization, then it's not going to work out. You're going to experience overtraining and things are not going to work out for you. But yeah, you can actually do all sorts of things like that, okay? You'll be amazed at what the body can go ahead and actually handle. Carlos says, I need that, man. I need to work out my Puerto Rican chicken legs. Carlos, you're killing me, bro. Go ahead and work out those legs hard, man. It's like, listen, I was born with skinny legs too. You know what I mean? I worked out my butt to go ahead and get them up there. You know what I mean? And I've literally worked my butt off too, because I wasn't endowed with that either. So I hear you, brother, loud and clear. I hear you. But man, with good work and the right diet, you'll get that. I've seen your physique, dude. I mean, you honestly, dude, you accomplished an incredible shape. So I mean, I don't know where you're at right now in comparison to where you were at before, but I'm here to tell you, if you were there before, you can do it now, and you can do it even better. So definitely keep up the good work, Carlos, because I mean, man, you have a physique and a half. So keep it up, okay? Christian says, Hugo, incorporating fat grips on my arm workout, would it be optimal? Yeah, you know what, Christian? I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that, and the reason for that is because it's something that is going to give the body a shock. Your body's not used to it, so it's going to go ahead and shock it, okay? That's the whole ticket. So little things like that you can certainly incorporate into the workouts that I gave you, and it's not going to do any harm. In fact, it's going to do a ton of good. You will just see that it's going to affect a little bit how much weight you can use, but that's not a problem. That's not a problem. If you need to reduce weight, you reduce the weight. But that's all fine and well. The key thing is that your nervous system will need to get used to it, and that's going to go ahead and bring about results, okay? So all good, Christian. All good. Annie says, what is your favorite quad exercise? My favorite quad exercise will need to be lunges pressing with the ball of the foot, okay? The reason for that is because lunges require much more stabilization than even squats themselves, okay? And lunges are just great because lunges is the kind of exercise that, gosh, it just really gives you such good results, So Annie, it will need to be lunges by far. And lunges are cool because you can turn it. It's also my favorite glute exercise, glute hamstring exercise, because just by shifting from emphasizing the force using, like, if you press with the ball of the foot, is what I'm trying to say. If you press with the ball of the foot, you're going to emphasize the quad. If you press with the heel, you're going to emphasize the glute and hamstring attachment. Okay? So as I take it with the lunges. So lunges are absolutely awesome. To me, they're just such a good exercise. And I noticed that when a lot of my clients, and including me, if we have a back spasm or something like that, lunges are the ones that are not going to bother our back, as opposed to a squat where you have the bar on the back. Okay? So lunges make for excellent rehab exercises too. So definitely lunges would need to be my favorite quad and glute and hamstring exercise by far. They're just that great. So yeah, that will be that. So great questions, by the way. I love this. It's all good. So if any of you want to keep throwing the questions, I'm here to answer them. Because like I said, I feel bad that last Friday I couldn't make it over here. But as you all know, I had some circumstances to deal with. But hey, I'm back. So I'll keep being back every single week. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, so it looks like no more questions. So not a problem. So by that, I assume that people are ready to go ahead and get the weekend started, which is great. I definitely am. I know that I'm going to have a way better weekend than the one that I had last week. That's for sure. So anyways, let's see what else we have here. Oh, awesome. Annie has one more question. Go ahead. Fire away. Fire away, Christian. If you have more questions, go ahead and throw them, buddy. Definitely. I want to go ahead and take care of all of you. Let's see what we have here. This is moving too quickly. Okay, Annie has one more question. So I'll wait for Annie to post. Christian says, it's all good, my friend. More important... what's going on here? Okay. Let me read here. Christian says, it's all good, my friend. More important is that you're safe. Thank you. I appreciate that, Christian. Carlos says, yesterday I did legs and I did sissy squats for the first time. Great workout. Sissy squats are a very, very misleading... That's a very misleading name. Because that exercise is far from sissy. That's a messed up exercise, as you know. Sissy squats is like, holy cow, death on the quad, for sure. So if you have good knees, sissy squats are excellent quad builders, for sure. I like lunges better, but sissy squats make definitely a big part of my programs, for sure. Just really, really good stuff. Carlos says, tell me about it. Annie says, what do you recommend for lagging biceps? I'll tell you in a minute, Annie. Annie also says, I love sissy squats and pistol squats. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Carlos says, gives you a nice source for sure. Yeah, for real. For lagging biceps, Annie, the first thing I recommend, believe it or not, is to lower the weight used. Okay? I used to do a lot of weight at the beginning for my biceps, and my biceps were not growing. The minute that I lowered the weight and I started incorporating 3 to 4 seconds on the way down, a couple of seconds on the way up, and a 1 second contraction, that's the minute that my biceps started to engage better. Okay, so definitely that's the first thing I would recommend. Let's go ahead and reduce the weight a little bit, and let's make sure that you're properly engaging the muscles. Okay. The other thing that I recommend, obviously, is to go ahead and follow the periodization principles, like I've talked before. Another thing that I would like you to try is to do like close grip pull-ups like this, the chin-ups. But notice this. You're just going to go to this part because, let me see if the camera can catch this. Because there, okay, I'm engaging the biceps. If I keep going this way, I'm engaging the back, right? So you're just going to go like all the way to here to where the biceps are engaged, okay? I think it's awesome to incorporate the close grip chins for the biceps. Awesome, awesome exercise. Also try some one-arm cables if you have that available at your house. If not, definitely the concentration curls. Definitely the easy bar curls I love. One-arm preacher curls, I love. Incline curls, I love. All those are great exercises for the biceps. But the most important thing is to keep the form, because if you don't have the form, then your biceps is not going to get all the stress. And that's the biggest mistake a lot of people make. They just go too heavy. And again, the other thing I also recommend, slow down. And then the other thing, definitely try those chin-ups for the biceps. because you're gonna get some incredible results. I mean, I get some mad pumps from doing the chin-ups for the biceps, which is something that a lot of people don't do. Let's see. Christian asks, sissy squats with or without weights? Christian, you know what? Start without weights. Trust me. Start without weights. You can add weights later, okay? Start it without weights so that your knees get used to the whole movement and your nervous system learns how to properly do it, okay? And I think I put sissy squats in your routine. I'll have to take a look at it, okay? But I know that the sissy squats are somewhere in your routine. You're going to see some sissy squats. Do you like 21s for biceps? Annie says, yeah, 21s are awesome, Annie. I totally love 21s for biceps. Again, the same thing applies. Just make sure that you use the proper weight. Make sure that you're engaging. Make sure that you're contracting the biceps. You know, sometimes little muscles like the biceps and triceps take a little bit more concentration because it's just so easy for us to go ahead and use a lot of weight and then use a little bit of momentum. Even without noticing, just a little thing like this will go ahead and just take off the tension from the bicep. So definitely biceps and triceps are the kind of muscles that you really have to leave the ego out the door. And make sure that you're using the proper form. 21s for biceps are great. Absolutely. I absolutely love that. You know, like I said, you know, the key thing with everything, like everything, is not only to introduce the periodization principles, but also to vary the exercises. Because if you're always doing the same exercises, your body will get used to it, you know. Carlos just asked an awesome question. What about if you develop an uneven muscle? Wonderful question, Carlos, because I have an answer for you. If you develop an uneven muscle, you have a few choices here. You can either and I wrote an article on the subject, and I'm going to link up the article. So after the live, I'm going to link up the article here so you get all the details. But in a nutshell, what you want to do, you have a couple options. One, either you can do some unilateral movements for the muscle in question at the end of your workout or even at the beginning. Okay, so for example, let's say that this pec is smaller than this pec. So what I would do at the end of like my chest workout then is that I will go ahead and do like some dumbbell presses, but just like this. Since this is the lagging one, let's say this is the lagging one, I'll just go ahead and be moving this one as I'm doing just a static contraction with this one, right? I can also do flies. If you notice, you see? So you will go ahead and throw in like 3 sets of like, you know, depends on the repetitions that you're doing. If it is a high repetition phase, you'll do high reps. If it's a lower repetition phase, you'll do lower reps. But you can go ahead and throw in one exercise like that. If the lagging body part is really behind, then I would recommend that if you're training twice a week, your body parts, the second time, just do the lagging part, okay? That's what you would do. The second time, you would just do the lagging part and use exercises that you can do unilaterally. Mostly dumbbell exercises are the ones that you can do unilaterally, and some machines like cable machines, obviously, you could do one arm at a time, you know. So that's what you want to go ahead and do. So you have those two options, either at the end of the workout, you want to go ahead, at the end or the beginning of the workout, you go ahead and you introduce the unilateral movements. And if there's a big lag between body parts, you know, like let's say big lag, I would define that as bigger than 3/4 of an inches, you know, between. Or if it's super visible, you know, just kind of like use your common sense. But if it's really lagging, the second time that I hit that body part, I would just do unilateral movements. So if it's 10 sets of unilateral movements, that's exactly what it's going to be thrown, you know. And there are many unilateral movements that you can go ahead and do, you know, if you think about it. I mean, like for example, for the legs, you know, you have leg extensions, you have lunges, you know, you have all sorts of, how you call it, even stiff-legged deadlifts. You can go ahead and do them with just one leg, you know. So it's a matter of, you know, thinking about what can be done unilaterally or not, right? Like for example, you cannot do a barbell bench press unilaterally, but you could do the dumbbell bench press. So that's the ticket. Carlos says, I'm right-handed, but my left arm seems to develop better than the right. You know what? That's no surprise, because being right-handed or left-handed has nothing to do with the amount of muscle stimulation that one side can produce versus the other. That's a whole nervous system thing. So what that means is that the side that is developing better, you seem to have a better mind to muscle connection to that side, okay? And it's kind of interesting with me because I know exactly which ones are my lagging body parts. So like this side of my chest is a little bit lagging to this one. That's because I did many years where I was just posing one side of the body as opposed to both, which was dumb from my part. Also, my left quad, actually my left quad is actually even now, but my left calf is actually smaller than my right one. Yet, like I said, I'm right-handed, and my left pec is actually slightly smaller than, my right pec is slightly smaller than my left one. So it's very interesting how that works. So it doesn't matter if you're right-handed or left-handed, you can have the opposite side, the one that is, the one that is stronger. So very interesting how that works out, But yeah, I'll go ahead and post that article for you, Carlos, so you check it out, okay? Because I think it'll help you give some sample routines and stuff like that. And if you need help, just, shoot me an email and stuff, But how are your workouts going, Carlos? Your workouts are going pretty good, and your diet and everything looking good too? I mean, you're moving in the right direction and everything? Let me see. Who do we have here? Alexis says, how size your biceps? I'm thinking, I don't know, like my biceps, like if they're pumped up and stuff, they're like 18 inches. If the question is how you measure them, you just go ahead and put a tape measure across them. But my biceps are like 18 inches pumped, more or less. that's the size of my biceps. Anyways, other than that, are there any other questions out there that people have? Carlos says, okay, perfect. Like I said, I'll go ahead and stay here a few more minutes to go ahead and answer questions. 18-inch biceps, wow. Yeah, well, here's the deal, Annie. I've been training now for almost 3 decades, so it better add up. It's like, gee, I don't know. I remember when I started training, I thought that I would be able to have 20-inch biceps in a year. But that's ignorance for you right there. It's like, and I tried so hard, God bless me, but that didn't happen, I was able, I had already, let me see. I had 16-inch biceps when I was 17, but obviously it wasn't the quality that it is today. So, that's something that is important to understand. It's like, as the years went by, some years I wouldn't grow in size that much, but the quality, the hardness of the muscle would improve dramatically. So that's you adding muscle and losing body fat at the same time. So in a case like that, while the tape measure will actually not improve, visually the muscle looks better. It looks more defined. It looks crisper. It just looks better, So that's important to know. Let's see what else we have. Annie says, hey, Lucy, I see you. Okay. Let's see. Carlos says, I'm trying to. I just started to work out at home since my son just started school. Workout going well. Diet-wise, not too good. You must be eating alcapurrias and stuff. I know you, buddy. I know what's up with you. Annie says, do you use creatine? Yes, I do actually. I've used creatine for so many years. I started using creatine when I was 28, and I've been using it ever since. It has a whole bunch of properties that help health-wise, seems to help with cholesterol, seems to help with brain function. It has a whole bunch of things that it does, in addition to giving you a great workout. So yeah, I use creatine. I use not a whole bunch. I use 2.5 to 5 grams per day, typically before my workouts. That's when I go ahead and take it, because it comes as part of my supercharge from Labrada. So that's what I use prior to my workouts. I use the stimulant-free one because I don't like the stimulant one, just because I don't want to put so much caffeine into my system. But that's just me. And so yeah, been taking creatine for so many years. And it doesn't have any side effects. Some people, I will tell you this, some people don't respond very well to creatine. Some people get bloated out of it. But that's the minority. The majority of people respond very, very well to creatine. And the only water retention that happens is the water retention inside the muscle cell, which in turn creates a bigger muscle cell, which is a more anabolic muscle cell. So yeah, creatine I think is a wonderful, wonderful supplement. Super safe. I read people that say, oh my God, it blows your kidneys away, it blows your liver. That's not true. It's like, I do my blood work and I see what's going on. It's like, it's not true at all. People just don't understand about these things. But creatine, super safe, super cheap these days, super awesome supplement to use if you're following the right training and the right nutrition. Otherwise, it's, like anything, you're just wasting your money, right? Carlos says, I try to eat as much as possible. Then he puts like laughing faces. Yeah, I know about the alcapurrias, trust me. So, and he says, do you believe in creatine loading when starting? Absolutely not. That's a great question, Arnie. No. In fact, I cover that in my bodyweight engineering book here, which I'm posting the link for again. Creatine, no. Don't load it. Just go ahead and start taking 2.5 to 5 grams per day. It will load over a period of 30 days, and after 30 days, your body will be fully loaded with creatine. So there's no need to take the whole 20-gram thing for 5 days. Some people used to say even take 30 grams for 5 days. It's just not needed. I've tried it both ways, and there's research indicating that, no need for the loading. The research is clear. The real world data is clear. No need to load. So the whole loading thing was just, I wouldn't say it was a scam. It's probably, I don't know, when creatine came out, this is what people believed. But once people started to notice that they could just go ahead and take 5 grams and be loaded up after 30 days, and the study started to come out to that effect, then that whole thing stopped. So, no need to load it, no need to cycle it, okay? I've been taking creatine consistently now for, I don't know, if you do 42 minus 28, that tells you how many years. That's how many years I've been taking creatine for. Just great supplement. I cannot speak highly enough of it because I've really done my experimentation with it. Like, I've trained with it and I've trained without it, and there's a very clear difference. When you don't have creatine loaded up in your system, you will do way less reps at certain amount of weights, and you will definitely take longer to recover in between sets and in between workouts. So for somebody like me who loves fast-paced training, creatine is just really a great supplement, You see, I read your mind, Danny. That's what happened. I'm a mind reader sometimes. So there you go. Yeah, no need to cycle it. Not at all. So yeah, creatine is great. Just good stuff. And I just take creatine monohydrate. There are other types of creatine which I think are great for people to experiment with if they have that bad reaction to the creatine monohydrate. Some people, like I said, they get really bloated with it. Like, they get like extracellular water retention, the water retention between the muscle cell and the skin. You don't want water retention there. You want water retention inside the muscle cell, not outside. And unfortunately, some people seem to have like a creatine allergy, is how I call it. And I guess like anything, like some foods, they give some people allergies. It's just the way it is. So I've known a minority of clients that had issues with the creatine monohydrate. But then if you change them to other types of creatine, it seems to solve the issues for most. Okay, some people just don't seem to be able to tolerate any type of creatine. But that's a very small minority. So definitely try it out. Yeah, creatine ethyl ester, didn't notice anything different about it. Yeah, you shouldn't actually. Especially if you're a good responder to creatine monohydrate, you shouldn't see any difference because I've tried all the forms too. To me, everything works pretty much the same. So monohydrate is the cheapest version, and it's also the one that has been tested the most. So I stick to that one. Plus, that's the one that's on the supercharge anyways. So yeah, creatine, good stuff. Have buckets of creatine over here. Hydrochloride, good too, Carlos. Just try it out. But, like I said, if you're a responder to creatine monohydrate, I would say just stick with the creatine monohydrate, If you're not a responder to creatine monohydrate, then definitely experiment with other forms. But typically, when you buy other forms of creatine, you pay a little bit higher. So keep that in mind, okay? There's no need to pay a higher price if you respond well to creatine monohydrate. That's just my view on it. So, and creatine monohydrate is dirt cheap these days. Just check out the Labrada site. Go to labrada-nutrition.com. They have the creatine, which is just like straight creatine monohydrate powder, and it doesn't cost much. I forget off the top of my head how much it is, but it'll last you forever, and it doesn't cost much at all. So, do you recommend using beta alanine? Yeah, Annie. You know why? Because I use a supercharge, like I said, the supercharge from Labrada, right? And that stuff has the creatine, and it has the beta alanine, and it has the L-tyrosine, and it has the what else does it have? It has some nitric oxide boosters as well. Really good stuff. So I take all that. It has some branched chain amino acids too. So I take all that stuff in just one drink. Okay. So the beta alanine, it makes me itchy to this day a little bit when I go ahead and take it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I haven't figured out why that is. I don't know why. Sometimes I go ahead and get it. Yeah, it's called Supercharge. If you go here, I'm posting the link. Nutrition.com. Okay. I just posted the link. It's Supercharge. Look for the stimulant-free one. Okay? Supercharge. Just like you typed it. Yeah. Supercharge. It's awesome. Because it has all of those performance enhancers in one. And I think they have it in special right now. The stimulant one. The stimulant-free one. I think it's on special for like $25 or something like that. So, yeah. Carlos, yeah. The itchy feeling is a histamine reaction that we get to the beta alanine, which is totally normal. Man, it makes you itch everywhere. But like I said, sometimes I get it really hard, other times I don't. I don't know why though, because I always take all this stuff empty stomach. So I haven't figured out yet why sometimes it'll give me that reaction and sometimes it doesn't, because I take it under the same circumstances. But regardless, I think it's important to know that beta alanine does have that reaction, because some people that don't know about it, they kind of freak out. So, and it could be freaky, I guess, if you know, if you're kind of like, how you call it, if you let little things like that bother you. Like me, I don't get bothered by any of that stuff. It's like, plus typically when I take something, I pretty much know the effect that it's going to have. So when I took beta alanine for the first time, I knew I was going to have that kind of itchiness. But, yeah, honey, the itchiness, I hear you. It goes away, you know, it's one of those things. It kind of like goes away after a few minutes, but at first it's like, ugh, it's just a histamine reaction. It's really nothing bad, to be honest with you. It's pretty weird though how it causes it. I don't know. And it's supposed, like I said, it's supposed to get better over time, and I feel that it is better, because for me now it doesn't happen all the time, but still to this day, and I've been taking beta alanine now for years, and still to this day, sometimes I get the reaction. Don't know why, to be honest with you. And Carlos says everywhere. Yeah, I know, like in the scalp and in the back. It's pretty crazy. I'm like, if you see me like this, you know what's going on. It's like I took my Supercharge and I'm like, ugh. But the beta alanine works synergistically with the creatine, and it allows you to go ahead and do more reps and more weight at the same, you know, at the same, how you call it? It allows you to do more reps for the same amount of weight. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. I cannot speak today, sorry. Yeah, beta alanine actually works pretty damn good when combined with the creatine. So yeah, good stuff. All that stuff is good, you know. And again, like I said, if you have the perfect training and diet, that's when you really see the power of these supplements, because you can really ascertain, you know, if you've been following the right training and diet for a while, and then you add this, then you go ahead and see, you know, you really see the effects of these things, and you're like, wow, this actually works. Yeah, it works if you're following everything else correctly. Then you'll see the true power of these supplements. They really have a performance enhancement effect for sure, no doubt about it. Especially when you combine it with the L-tyrosine, because I think L-tyrosine is really good for, like, you know, focus, for even pain tolerance. I've actually read studies that it helps with pain tolerance and things like that. And it even helps you to train at extreme temperatures as well. Not that I'm recommending that, but I'm just saying that it gives you more tolerance to, you know, to when you're training in like cold temperatures or hotter temperatures. So L-tyrosine, really, really cool stuff. So I love the fact that the Supercharge has all these supplements put together, because that way I don't have to take a whole bunch of pills separately, and I just go ahead and drink it. Sometimes I go ahead and, believe it or not, sometimes I just fill up my gallon to here, and then I just drink the whole thing with the Supercharge and everything. Like I may drink like half before the training, and then the other half I just drink it during the training. You don't have to do that, but I'm just saying that's one of the things that I do. Yeah, Annie, it has BCAAs too. It's really good. It has 5 grams of BCAAs in it. And you can have more BCAAs if you want, but I noticed that just 5 is more than good enough. So, yeah. Has the BCAAs. Good stuff, like I said. There's a reason I take it. I like it. And it's great flavor, too. So, I use the fruit punch, and I also like the grape. I like them both equally. I don't have a preference. I'll have any of them. In fact, I'll have any flavor, to be quite honest with you. But those are my favorite, to be honest with you. So, yeah. Let's see. Any other questions out there? Because I'm happy to stay over here for 5 more minutes and answer anything you all may have before I make everybody wait a whole week before I show up again. But yeah, here to just help out, answer some questions. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, it looks like the questions are over for today. Not a problem. Cool. So again, thank you so much to everybody for showing up over here. Again, if you want to go ahead and have a really cool program to check out. And Annie says, come on, people, speak up. There you go, Annie. You can throw that last question. I don't mind. As you throw the last question for everybody else, you're going to represent the whole community. That last question represents the whole community, okay? So throw a good question like the ones you've been throwing. In the meantime, I'll just say that, if anybody's looking for a good program to go ahead and try out because, they're lost and you don't know how to put your diet and training together and stuff like that, check out my body re-engineering program here. Like I said, I'm putting it on a donation basis because I figure it'll help me with hurricane expenses and it'll help you with your training and diet. So it's a win-win. It's on a donation basis, like I said. So I'll be happy to make that available for all of you right there. And as I wait for Annie's question, because Annie is going to ask a question. Thank you, Annie. Annie says, I'm so glad you're safe and sound. Yeah, so are we. That would have sucked to be blown away like the first little pig in the little pig story, where you have the 3 little pigs and then you have the the big bad wolf that is blowing their houses. I was just hoping and praying I wasn't pig number 1 or 2, because both of their houses got blown away. So, oh my goodness, that was an experience. Jesus. And again, like I said, I just feel sorry for my wife, Cecile, because she's never experienced a storm like that. So I'm a veteran when it comes to this stuff. For God's sake, I experienced Hugo in its full glory. Who the heck would name a hurricane like me? I mean, Jesus, that's just dumb. It's like now you've given a name that gives determination and strength. And you name a hurricane like that. That was dumb. Irma, in fact, actually, I looked up the name Irma, and that means warrior goddess. That wasn't a very wise choice of a name. Try to give names that represent weakness, okay? And this just goes out to whoever names these hurricanes. Go ahead and name them something that is weak. That way, hopefully, we get some weak storms. We don't want a badass hurricane like the one we just got. Alexis Perez says, what food increases muscle mass? Very simple, buddy. You need a diet, right? And start with a diet that is 40% carbs, 40% proteins, and 20% fats, right? And then basically what you're gonna do for carbs, you can have like, oatmeal, potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, what else? Cream of rice as well, any kind of good carb, quinoa, all those are good carbs. For proteins, you're gonna go ahead and have like chicken, turkey, lean red meat. You can have salmon, which is great, tuna. Salmon has the added benefit of having essential fats, which are super, super necessary. They're essential, in fact, so you gotta take them every single day. So, the proteins, lean proteins like that, they're great. Eggs, egg whites, of course. The eggs, whole eggs actually give you good fats as well. Don't believe the hype that they give you cholesterol and all this stuff. Yeah, whatever. When you mix bad fats with sugars, that's what gives you the high cholesterol. But, the cholesterol in the egg is not going to go ahead and kill you, trust me. I have excellent cholesterol, and I've eaten, I can eat sometimes as much as 12 eggs a day, believe it or not. So yeah. And then for fats, you want to go ahead and have some nuts. Fish oils, for sure. Like I said, if you're eating salmons, you're getting some fish oils. You want to have some coconut oil. You want to have some extra virgin olive oil. All these make up for good fats. And like I said, 20% of your calories should come from that. Okay? So that's the whole ticket right there when it comes to that. Annie says, do you see that Jose is out there now? Yeah, I've been tracking Jose since the beginning, and I said I hope it doesn't hit up north because I just had a feeling that thing is going up north. And at first they said, well, it's not going to go ahead and hit any part of the United States, but now they're saying that, you know, it could be hitting, you know, places like New England and stuff. And I hope that it just goes like this and it doesn't hit anybody, but it's just bad. And there's not only Jose, there's two more that formed in Africa, so they're coming this way. Who knows where those are going to hit. And he says, do you use flaxseed, shea, or hemp seed oils? You know what, Annie? Nothing wrong with any of these. I don't use them just because the whatever I can get from the flax seeds, I actually get from my fish oils. Shea and hemp seeds are very, very good actually. I just don't use them personally just because I already have enough fats that I put in. I guess I should incorporate these just for how you call it, for variety purposes. Sometimes I'm not very good with variety, to be quite honest with you, just because I like simplicity. So that kind of like throws my variety out of the window. So typically the kind of oils that I focus on are the fish oils, the coconut oil, the extra virgin olive oil, the you know, cashews, hazelnuts, and what was the other thing? And the fats from whole eggs. Okay, whole organic eggs. That's typically where I get my fats from. But yeah, everything you mentioned is great. The only reason I have a little bit of a bigger preference with the fish oils as opposed to the flaxseed is because the fish oils are higher in the omega-3s, okay? So, but flaxseed, like I said, totally everything you posted is valid. Everything is good. So, not a problem with any of those, okay? So, anyways, so that answered your question. Any other questions? Because otherwise I will go. But I don't mind sitting here and answering your questions because I enjoy this. So that's not a problem. Not a problem at all. All right, so it looks like now we're totally out of gas. Okay, no problem. Anyways, so in that case, thank you for everybody that showed up and participated. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to be with you all over here. You know, huge thanks to all my clients because, you know, all of you, you know, keep the lights on over here and let me do this for everybody. And, you know, with that said, you know, keep training hard, keep training smart, make sure that you eat correctly because, you know, the diet is everything. If you don't diet correctly, then the results are just not going to be there, unfortunately. I wish I could tell you otherwise. I wish I could tell you, oh yeah, train all you want and then you can eat all you want. Not the case. I tried it. Trust me, it doesn't work. So, so anyways, with that said, thank you so much for stopping by, and until next time, take care and train hard. I'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye.